Okay, let's begin. Today, we're going beyond the experience builder. I'll talk through how Drupal Gutenberg 4.0 isn't just keeping up, it's going up new modern possibilities for content creation inside Drupal. Whether you're a developer, an editor, or someone who just care about delivering better digital experiences, this is the talk for you. And everyone's talking about the experience builder. It's in core, it's moving fast, and it looks great. But the question is this the kind of conversation we really need at the moment to make sure that Drupal will succeed long term? Most site owners don't care about layouts at all on those kind of tools. They care about content that performs. Editors want workspace, not a puzzle. And organizations, well, they need results. They want conversions. They want incoming applications maybe, or donations, those kind of things. And not really slots and templates and these kind of things. And in the broader CMS world, focus has shifted. These platforms are obsessed over content UX, speed, and AI, not just how pages are built, but how humans actually create content. And in that race, Drupal isn't really ahead, yet at least. And it is really the age of AI coming in. The future of content creation is AI assisted. And it's not really a gimmick or a shortcut or cheap way of doing it. It's already transforming how content is written, translated, tagged, and structured. If our editorial tools aren't designed with AI in mind, we're falling behind, basically. Let's be honest. Our clients don't care about layout builder, Gutenberg, paragraphs, and these things. They care about outcomes. If we focus too much on the tech tools and too little on business value, we lose. And this is where we need to think now and then and talk about what Drupal really should be. Drupal can't be just a framework for developers. It has to become a digital experience platform that empowers teams, with developers, editors, strategists, and designers, all aligned on purpose. So where does Drupal Gutenberg fit in? Well, in the next part, I'll show you how it's just not just a page builder, but a full editorial system that works across fields, entities, and workflows. But first, I'll introduce myself. My name is Thor. I work in Frontcom in Norway, and I really enjoy Poland. I've been here a few times, and Warsaw is especially beautiful these days, I'd say. The last couple of times I was here, it was like January, February, and those kind of things. We have enough, we see that in Norway so much, too much actually. So I wish I could have stayed longer. Frontcom, well, we're a digital agency based in Norway, Poland, and Portugal, and we have around 15 years of Drupal experience. We work with commercial B2B companies, education, and NGOs, building sites that do not only look good, but get results. We care deeply about the people who actually use Drupal day to day, especially content editors. That's why we've been working on Drupal Gutenberg since 2018-ish. And I'll be quick about this. Point is that we are full service and work with multiple technologies and CMSs. And this gives us an extraordinary understanding of the market and the valuable insights in exactly what the market needs and wants at all times. Now, we've been saying this for a few years. It's a slide I've used at DrupalCons a few times, that we have this vision that Drupal should be the most user-friendly enterprise CMS. Drupal should be easy for those who own Drupal sites. But recently, I've sort of felt the need to not only bold out user-friendly here, but also enterprise. Because that's where I believe Drupal have a specific advantage. Or at least, medium-sized to large websites. And what's concerning me a bit these days are a few directions and paths we're taking. And it's been mentioned today, and I'm happy about that initiative. But I'm just not sure if the template store thingy is what we want to get out to the market and sort of push out there. Just because if you're doing a web project with thousands of hours for these big companies and organizations, you want that custom design anyway. And I'm not sure if I think we're sort of reaching around too much out there. If you also want to sort of cover the bookstore on the corner, if you know what I mean. It's just, we have an amount of initiative and people in the community also. So that's why I'd like us to focus more on the bigger sites. But let's get back to Gutenberg. Now, what is it anyway? It's a modern block-based editor, originally built by WordPress, but perhaps adopted to work inside Drupal. And it's interesting that I say that because, my last sentence, I just realized that by definition, WordPress is sort of aiming more to those smaller clients. So there's some irony in there, I just realized. But there is a reason, because Gutenberg, the work there is really, really strong and solid. Think about Notion or Google Docs, but for the web. And what you see is what you get in real time with intuitive layout and editing. And it's not really just a WYSIWYG. It's a full editorial workspace, but with proper field mapping and structured content support. And now with Gutenberg 4.0, it's built fully for Drupal. And that's what I'll talk a bit more about next. But before that, let me just show what I'm talking about. Hand raise, how many of you have used Gutenberg for Drupal Gutenberg, or played around, seen it? Yeah, thank you, Krzysztof. That's very nice of you. Yeah, he's a colleague of mine. Well, just to show you a couple of examples here. I mean, this is a typical landing page on the left side. A few years back, it looked like, and the edit page for that looked like something that we see on the right side. But with Drupal Gutenberg, we get something more than what you see here. That's the sort of the edit space for that. It's not perfect. You can see differences here, but it's more than good enough for editor people to come in and recognize what we're working with and so on. But before we move on, should I give a demo of how the editor works and looks? Nodding heads? That's good. Then I will actually do it. I was actually planning to skip it if you were like, no, you've seen that. Yeah. Okay, let me just now help myself, help you. And that is by mirroring my screens. You can see all my mess here. There you go. Okay, now this is a college university in Norway, built on Drupal, as you see. And it's mostly Gutenberg oriented. This is the front page, built with Gutenberg. In the bottom here, we have like some dynamic content. We have a professor here, like well, this is in Norwegian though, but look beyond that. It's an interview with a nice guy. So I'm hitting edit. You can see the long read article is like this. And when I open that up with Gutenberg, it, showed me that warning. That showed up, of course, last night. But here you see it. This is Gutenberg. I have a title field here in the top. And this is, as you can see here in the sidebar, this is just like a text area. Gutenberg takes over this full area to work with a node. But the title up here is mapped to the actual title of the node. So it's sort of structured that way and synchronized. Same with the next field. When I click there, you can see that this is connected to the teaser field and so on. So I have regular options here to work with text, as I would expect. I can always hit enter and start working with something. And I have a photo down here, and Gutenberg is quite strong with handling these things. So when I click on that, I have these drag handlers that make me, I can do these things if I want to. We could also turn that off for the customer if we wanted to, but here it's activated. We have a few options for that block. I can choose to have it full width if I'd like to. And you can see that there is a quite long description here in the bottom, caption. I can choose to have that on top of the image instead. Always here that this is a quite dark image, so I can change the text color there to be white and make it bold if I want to. And when I go out of the text area, I suddenly get this pattern here where I can say, okay, where do you actually want this text? You want it to be right in the corner? Yes, please, and so on. And then again, now I have selected full width, so I can drag this to make it more narrow if I want. And you can see there is a focal point down here, which responds according to what I want. I can make that image background be fixed, so we have this scrolling effect. And then still I can do the same kind of things here, moving things up and down, and everyone's happy. And we have more or less the same things for YouTube videos. You can see here, if I want to play it, I can do that straight within my editor here. You can see that there's a caption field down here as well. But notice if I click outside of it, I have chosen not to have that. So it doesn't show, exactly how it would be presented in the front end. I can also, just for the fun of it, delete it, because I have it here. I'll just copy the URL from that and show you how I'm adding that in the first place. So now I was in the bullet list. I just hit enter a couple of times, and then I'm here in a new line, and I can just paste my URL, and it pops up with the player, and everything is, just as I want it. And by the way, here I have those same options with doing full width if I want to, and all of those kind of things. I can drag and drop this thing around, but notice now how this is taking up all my space. Imagine drag and drop things up there, you scroll, and it's, yeah. So luckily I have an alternative way of doing that. I can say that I want it further down, and I like just the small details of the focus following the video instead of the background, so it's very easy to follow. Yeah, and I think that's about it for that demo. I'll go out here, leave that. And I also want to quickly give you another demo, network error, just because I'm switching some. There we go. This is basically the screenshots that you saw from the last slide. This is also built with Gutenberg, but a bit more custom blocks and a bit more, landing page focus. So let's hit edit for that. And you can see the obvious issue here with the top, the text right in front of that lovely woman, and I can move that as I please. Of course, everything here this is where I do text. I can start typing. And here you can see we've removed a lot of the text, changes. Here you can't go in and say, I want blue text, because the design manual wouldn't let her do that, or me. Down here, I can also choose, some different themes for that block. I'll go for the black one, and you can see that for the 3-column grid, I'm able to do the same. So I can very quickly go in here and change this, and you can see that all of the styling for these boxes are changed because of that, not only the background color. Here also, if I want another icon for that, I click around, you see instantly that it's actually responding within the editor as well. Here's another block, left or right, I choose. Here's a video. And when I click that, I get some different settings. I can also, of course, move things around as I want. But I can also go in here and find another video, go back to Gutenberg and paste the ID for that, or the URL, and it starts playing in the background. Because this is a background video, it shouldn't have any, you can't click play and all of these kind of things. And while that's playing, I can work with the text as I want to. Another small thing here with the grids, this is totally manual for now, but here I have the same. If I move that around, you can see it's, just moving around the pages as I'd like. Okay, that's it. Let's go back to the presentation again. And I'll do this. Stop that. And yeah, you had the demo for now, at least for now. Okay, so who's using Gutenberg anyway? And that's when it gets interesting. Before we dive into what's new in Drupal Gutenberg, let's zoom out for a second. Gutenberg isn't a niche experiment. It's one of the most widely used content editors on the web today. Over 86 million installations, more than 270 million posts written using it, and just yesterday was almost 200,000 posts created with this editor. Now these numbers are from WordPress sites that report usage, so it's even higher when you look at the real stats. But the point is that Gutenberg has proven and massively adopted platform for structured, rich content creation. When we bring that into Drupal, we're not just importing an editor, we're tapping into a mature ecosystem that's being battle tested every day by millions of users. Previous versions of Drupal Gutenberg were based on the WordPress editor interface with some smart modifications, and that worked well and got us to where we are today. But in version 4, we're trying to move in the direction of entirely using the Drupal UI. We're not fully there yet, but we're going in that direction. This will be a Drupal native editor, clean, maintainable, and made to evolve. Until now, Gutenberg in Drupal has been all or nothing. That's not entirely true, but in terms of the node form, either you use it for the entire node or not at all. But in 4.0, we've made it a bit more modular. You can apply Gutenberg to a single field, just like with the CK editor. And this means that you can give editors full block features where you need it, and then choose to use the full view other places if you want. So this is just an example of what we have in progress at the moment. So this is actually Gutenberg in the middle there. But we didn't stop there. Gutenberg 4.0 is entity-agnostic, meaning that you're not only use it for nodes, but for taxonomies, commerce products, or even custom entities. Any content entity in Drupal can now benefit from the same modern editing experience. One editor to learn for editors, and one editor to maintain. One editor to rule the more. I don't know, yeah. Anyway, let's look at the differences. These are two fundamentally different tools. They're both useful, but they were built with a different mindset for different users. Experience Builder is a site builder and a developer tool, powerful for layout and templating, but tightly coupled to configuration. It assumes that you're working on a desktop in a technical context with developer logic in mind, if you will. Gutenberg, on the other hand, was made for authors, for people writing stories, building pages, managing daily content work. And the difference? Well, it's not cosmetic, it's strategic, because those people are your customers, usually. In Experience Builder also, if you want to extend that UI you have when you're using it, you can't do much, not at the moment at least. It's a great start there going on, so it's evolving, but it's pretty locked down. But Gutenberg is made to be extended. There's a mature JS framework. You can add controls, transform the blocks, hook into logic, and crucially, you can build tools for editors, not just for devs. That flexibility is why Gutenberg has succeeded in the broader CMS world and why it still matters in Drupal. Let's have a look at a couple of use cases for that. Let's take a marketing team launching a new campaign and needing a custom landing page for that. With both tools, as in Experience Builder and Gutenberg, if they're properly configured, you can do it in both Gutenberg and Experience Builder to handle this. Both have these drag and drop features. Both give you a visual editing experience. There's a couple of differences. Gutenberg will give you basically more layout freedom, inline controls, and content flow logic. Experience Builder keeps editing locked to the sidebar still, or for that, from your point of view. You don't work on the text in the same place as it will be displayed. There's this thingy. Gutenberg patterns can be built and reused by editors. Experience Builder, yes, you can, but the process sort of expects a developer. There's this CLI tool, you know, and maybe QA processes and so on. And to be honest, no one really knows how the Experience Builder UI will look once it gets like 1/3 of what Gutenberg has in its feature set today. Will it get there? Maybe. But today, the editor experience isn't compatible, in my opinion. Let's look at the second use case, and that's the communications team working on our 5,000-word story. It's what you see there on the right-hand side. It could be like internal communication, an annual report, or just a long-read article. They want to embed media, quotes, tables, links, rich layout element, but stay in the writing flow. Gutenberg is built for that. You paste images, links, or even YouTube videos, as I showed you, and they just work. Markdown, fully supported. Real-time preview, always on. Experience Builder simply isn't made for this. It's layout first, not writing first. Its desktop-only interface and sidebar-based editing breaks that writing flow. It's like trying to write a novel in a spreadsheet, which is okay, but you don't do it. And you can't talk about the future of content without talking about AI. From summarizing long documents to write first drafts to tagging and reformatting, AI is changing how we create. Drupal Gutenberg is now being integrated with the Drupal AI module. It understands block structure, which means AI can target the right parts of the content, not just plain text. And we're not talking about the gimmicks. We're talking about real editorial assistance built into your workflow. The tools we use must be designed for this, and Gutenberg is. Now, in this specific example, we're just showing an example of how the WordPress version is showing some of the things we are currently building. The key here is that we will let AI output in the Gutenberg area with advanced blocks, basically. And the future is collaborative. We've also laid a foundation there for what's coming next, real-time collaboration. Yes, a bit like Google Docs is built on top of Gutenberg using YJS and multi-edit. We're integrating with Drupal's emerging AI module to support content suggestion, summaries, and smart automations. And with SDC support, editors will soon be able to interact directly with component props right inside the editor interface. Drupal Gutenberg isn't just a modern editor, it's a platform to build, to grow with you. And here now, in the end, I'll show you some of the existing things that we're working on at the moment, which is not only Gutenberg oriented, but that's sort of our starting point, and I'll show you in a moment. It's something we're building right now. It's a content quality dashboard for Drupal Gutenberg. Think of it as a smart AI enhanced QA layer for your entire content library. And I'll actually show you, let's see here now, if you can, I don't think I need to switch my screen again. Okay, so this is a very simple prototype of it. Think about this as the admin content list in Drupal. where you can sort of filter by content types and so on. Maybe you could filter by taxonomies, do all of these kind of things. Of course, it will look different in Drupal, and you have your Drupal menu and so on. But the magic lies here in the idea of being able then to analyze what you have selected. It goes through some selected fields, title, teaser, maybe body, we'll see, and passes that through an AI evaluation. And you get things like this in return. Now, most of you have probably seen already like SEO tools for these kind of things, like Yoast, that evaluates your content to see if the lengths of teasers and titles are correct and if you're using the right keywords and these kind of things. But that's like a one-page focus, right? It's helping you work with this article or this page. Then you have Site Improve, which is all about, outside in. You can check your dead links and you can see how your content or website is performing, comparing to competitors and these kind of things. But the unfair advantage that we have building these tools is that we can connect it to our nodes, architecture, structure, and we know what kind of tools we have to help that content improve. So we're not only showing stuff like you often see in these external tools. There's something wrong. Actually, 342 things that are wrong. You're able to give some, suggest some improvements. Suggest a rewrite. And it's not going to look like this. This is just like the concept of it, but the idea is that you can hit apply and blah, blah, blah. What we want to do is to, when you click suggest rewrite, you're sent into Gutenberg, and you can see your diff of here is what we suggest, and that's what you had. And by analyzing more than just that one piece of content, you're able to do stuff like this. Many of these titles are too similar to each other and hard to distinguish. It's super relevant. Thinking about working with universities, where you have like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 pages, and you can be sure that there are a bunch of pages that have the exact same titles. That's problematic for a bunch of reasons. Two of them are internal SEO. When you search for that and you get like a search in the SERP there, the result page, and it's like, am I going in here or going in there? And even here, since this is Drupal, and we can set up some flows for this, we can suggest improvements and get some sort of dialogue. We don't know exactly where yet, but you could get some, okay, let's rename this page to that, and then this to that, and then let's see where we'll go. Also, it could be that not only the titles, but these 4 pages cover nearly the identical content. Also very typical. Let's say a classic example I see in a lot of universities is the student life page. They always start nice, with a video on the top, and you see some students partying and being friends and these kind of things. And before you get to the important parts of that page, like, for example, this is the different things that you can attend. You can join this. This is where you find your place to live, and these are the student helpers and these kind of things. At some point on top there, someone wants to present studies, And it's just totally wrong. You're not on the student life page to look at studies, So it's these kind of things that we also want to help out with. And the brilliance about Gutenberg is that it's so easy, and actually that's also a nice feature with the Experience Builder, that you're able to sort of not only duplicate it, but you're able to split it. But with Gutenberg, you can just go into half of that page, you can select those blocks, cut it out, and then put it into another node, and it will just work. And that is very simple logic to use also with these kind of tools. Yeah. So that was actually more or less it. Before we wrap up, if you're curious about start experimenting with AI inside Gutenberg today, there's a small but handy module I'd recommend checking out, the Gutenberg AI tool. It's available on Drupal.org and maintained by Daniel here. It's not a full AI platform, but it's a great starting point. If you want to see where things are going and maybe even get inspired to, build some of those things yourself. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. If you're curious, skeptical, or somewhere in between, I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you want to connect or ask questions or talk about content editing in Drupal, my contact information is not on the screen because I forgot to go back to the presentation. I'll also go back then to let you see what I was assuming you looked at. Here's Daniel. Yeah. But if you want to connect, you find contact information, and that same survey is linked here if you want to sort of, put your email in there or just give some feedback. Yes?
Hey, thanks for a great presentation. So I have a question about this field mappings. So you have mentioned like one of the use cases is the landing pages, which is an obvious use case.
Yeah.
But you have also been showing like this professor page, and I was thinking like I think you already posted a solution where you could have two text fields with both attached to Gutenberg. But is it like, what about different field types? Like for example, entity reference. Imagine this professor had some kind of publications, and I wanted them to be like an entity reference, and I wanted to put those entity references as, I don't know, a list or anything, just basically maybe like teasers or something in between the paragraphs. Is it possible with that, with these field mappings? Or?
Yes. We have quite a few examples of pages where we, for example, it's a landing page. You saw it on the front page, actually. In the bottom there, you have like a dynamic section where we show recent articles, for example. So within Gutenberg, you can just go to the content type that you're working on, and you can activate Drupal views, like Drupal block views, straight into that content type, so that when you go to the editor later, you can sort of add that view there. And then, of course, you have all the configuration needed for that view. And we've also built more custom-oriented blocks, where we in the Gutenberg editor, we create basically a custom block where you can sort of filter down to the nodes that you want to reference somehow, or search for them, basically by title or whatever. Was that sort of a answer to your question? No, but no, because you talked about the field mapping of it.
Kind of, but yes,
yeah.
I was thinking like, for example, like an entity reference field, if you can edit it, because you were showing like the title field edit, body edit, and if you have like an entity reference that you want to show in some kind of way, I don't know, for example, in CK editor you can have this entity embed thingy where you can embed entities and then choose like the view mode which will this entity will display in. So I'm thinking about like structured content. So for example, you have a node with multiple fields and then to use in search or whatnot, and then I want to show them on the page. So is it possible to like mix them inside the Gutenberg, or is it just for like the top-down experience for building the unstructured content, and then structured content needs to be also somehow displayed in a view mode, I don't know, in a tweak or whatever?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Sorry.
Go. Maybe you can help me out. Yeah.
But technically, you can insert images which are references to media, and with the image in certain view mode. Image style. So isn't it like roughly the same?
Yeah, I guess so. I just I was not sure about the use case, but you can map.
There's not like a long road from inserting like reference to media to some other like reference.
It should not be difficult. I just haven't seen it done, I guess. Or maybe maybe I have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other questions?
Thank you, Thor, for the presentation. And
Thank you.
I'm a spy here because I mostly work in WordPress. So
welcome. We welcome you. Yeah.
Gutenberg is in WordPress, I believe, for 9 years, 10 maybe.
Yeah.
And even last year, many users still don't want to use it. They switched to classic editor, which has like I believe 10 million instance, something like that.
Yep.
And what do you think about that?
Oh, it's a great question. I love to talk about it. Because, yeah, it's been like a learning curve for some. The reason why we use Gutenberg in all our Drupal projects, I mean, we haven't built, we're about 80 people, and we focus on Drupal, and we haven't built a single website with Drupal without Gutenberg since 2018, when we did the proof of concept and worked with the WordPress core and so on. The actual interesting mismatch here is that I believe, you know, the full framework and the structure and the organization of working with the React-based blocks as you have in Gutenberg is a better match for Drupal than with WordPress. And that has to do with some of the developer, communities. It has to do with the need to, you know, being able to build in these larger frameworks. Of course, it's simple to use Gutenberg with WordPress if you want the simple things, because then you just have it in core and you can do it. It's those in-between situations where you want to build something a bit more custom, and they're sort of trying to handle that. When there will always be haters, and especially in so big communities that WordPress is seeing. But the reason I'm standing here and being so confident about the things I'm talking about is that it has more than anything been like a huge business opportunity for us. Because this is the moment we're able to go in here and compete with Adobe and Optimizely and do demos and present solutions that they cannot compete with. And that's a business opportunity. Yeah, thank you so much.